Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of In Conversation, the series where we chat with the musicians, artists, and just general creative people behind the concerts that we put on. And I'm very excited for our guest today. I'm Nicholas Arnold, the Director of Marketing at Glatz Concerts, and together with TO Live, this October we are presenting Hocus Pocus in concert. That's where the full movie will play on the big screen at Meridian Hall with a live orchestra performing every single note of the score in sync to picture. And my guest today is none other than Billy Butcherson himself, Doug Jones. Doug Jones is an American actor best known for portraying anything that's not human under a lot of heavy makeup and visual effects. Some of his most notable films include Guillermo del Toro's Hellboy 2, Hellboy, Pan's Labyrinth, Crimson Peak, The Shape of Water, and of course, Hocus Pocus. I think you're really going to like this conversation today. It's the perfect way to get excited for Hocus Pocus in concert, happening October 17th and 18th at Meridian Hall. Tickets are available at glatzconcerts.com or at tolive.com. Get yours before they're gone. Here we go, my conversation with Doug Jones. Doug, thank you so much for joining me. It is such a pleasure to talk to you. What a thrill it is to have you here. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Nick. It's a pleasure.
Talk to me a little bit just as we get into this. Your first big kind of like Hollywood production was Batman Returns, in terms of getting a part that, you know, has a little bit of meat and juice to it and the physicality for you to play around. What's the stepping stones from Batman Returns to then landing a really great role in Billy Butcherson with Hocus Pocus?
Right. Well, I got into Batman Returns because of a dear friend of mine who just recently passed away, Bob Yerkes. He was a stuntman legend in Hollywood with a huge circus background of his own. So he, when Batman Returns was being developed, Penguin hung out with the Red Triangle Circus Gang. So the stunt department was looking to Bob Yerkes to help them get people on board and in place that would be in the circus gang that would hang out with Danny DeVito's Penguin character, that would be actual circus performers. So he got jugglers and stilt walkers and sword swallowers and fire eaters and knife floor. He got all of them. And Bob knew me that I could put my legs behind my head. So contortionist, great. So he he told the stunt department there on Batman Returns, I got a guy if you want to work him in somewhere. That's how I got Batman Returns, was by a phone call from the stunt coordinator calling me directly on a recommendation from Bob Yerkes. So I skipped the casting process altogether, and I went and met with him and showed him I could bend up. And he's like, "Oh, hang on here for a second. Let me show it to me. I want you to meet somebody." He goes down the hall and gets Tim Burton to come back. And I'm like, So he said, "Yeah, this is our director, Tim Burton. Show him what you just showed me." I'm like, "Oh my gosh!"
Yeah, Tim Burton in his prime, right? Like this is Tim Burton, Edward Scissorhands, like right in the
1990,
not
late
even
91.
Edward. Yeah, 91. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that was prime Tim Burton era.
Yeah.
So Tim says, "Yeah, that's great. Whatever you just did, let's go talk about you in the next room." So they go away and come back 2 minutes later, and it's like, "Great, well, you got the part." I'm like, "The part? But there's a part? I thought I was here for a sight gag." It turns out, so that turned into a 7-week contract to play a supporting role in the Red Triangle Circus Gang that was scripted. I didn't know that. I had no idea what the script even looked like. And then Tim liked having me around, so he kept me around for 14 weeks, which saved my year. God bless him. So with that on my resume, a huge title like Batman Returns, now my manager was able to get me in the door to be seen for Hocus Pocus, to play a more notable role, Billy Butcherson. And so that was so Batman Returns was a door opener. Credits like that help you get into the next thing. You know, work begets the next work. So then I met director Kenny Ortega. I had an audition set up through my manager with Kenny Ortega, the director, not in a casting office, but at a dance studio. Now, director Kenny Ortega is renowned as a choreographer and a dance, icon. And of course, had directed movies like Newsies and High School Musical 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, however many they are now, right?
Yeah.
So he's got a real flair for movement, shapes, color, music, and so I could tell that element was coming into now Hocus Pocus. So we're making a Halloween movie, but it's going to have music, color, shapes, movement. So, and Billy Butcherson was very much a character that fit into that template, right? So my audition was in a dance studio with Kenny Ortega, one of his assistants, a casting director, sitting at one edge by the mirrors, and then so Kenny's telling me, walk across the room there and get on the floor, lay down like you're dead in your grave. I'm going to turn some music on. He had a boombox with him, and I want you to slowly, kind of come to and wake up after 300 years of being dead. Then I want you to, whatever it takes physically for you to stand up and move over to this side of the room, and then look up in the air, and you're going to see a witch floating, and you're going to yell at her. That was my instruction. Okay, so so I do all this, and he puts this music on. Dang, 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 dang. Kind of like, oh, it got me right in the mood. He's so good, that Kenny Ortega. And I start waking up like one little limb at a time, and like and creaky, like, okay, I'm thinking dead. He's probably stiff. And anyway, the giggling started immediately. And the more that I did, and the farther I stood up, and the more that I stumble walked, the guffaw laughing that was happening, I'm like, okay, this is going really well.
Mm-hmm.
I think I might have got this gig.
Yeah.
So by the time I ended up doing it, they laughed. They all clapped and were like, "Oh, Doug, that was." So by the time I got home, there was a message on my answering machine. This is the early '90s. This is before we had cell phones. That was, yeah, you got the gig. So that was such a feel good, exciting, like, oh my gosh. And
Yeah.
at the time, all I knew about the movie was, I hadn't seen a full script yet. Uh, all I knew about the movie was that Bette Midler was in it,
I was going to say,
and
were
Bette
they
Midler
attached
also,
yet? Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
already, yes, and
Okay.
Sarah Jessica Parker and Kathy, the three witches had already been secured, but Bette Midler being, of course, Winifred in this, was also at the height of her movie stardom at the time, and she was a big Disney Touchstone staple, right?
Mm-hmm.
She'd already done movies like Down and Out in Beverly Hills and Outrageous Fortune with Shelley Long,
Yeah.
and
Beaches.
Ruthless People,
Yeah.
and my gosh, Big Business with
Yeah.
Lily Tomlin.
Yeah.
And right, just one boom, 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 boom after another. And she had just done Beaches before this. So I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I'm working with Bette Midler. And I'm playing her ex-boyfriend from 300 years ago. So I know I've got scenes with her. Oh my gosh. My head was imploding. But what came with this was also a look. Billy Butcherson um, was a 300-year-old dead guy. So that required some prosthetic latex foam rubber skin that was wrinkly and dead guy looking, and was sculpted onto my life cast. And makeup artist Tony Gardner, I owe him a lot for this too. Tony Gardner and his team at Alterian Studios designed Billy Butcherson, sculpted Billy Butcherson, and when they did the first sculpture prototype to show Kenny Ortega, here's what Billy might look like, they sculpted that on a life cast of me before I was cast. They borrowed my life cast from another creature shop that I had worked with, and to put, and I'm not sure what gave Tony that inspiration, but God bless him for doing it. So he showed Kenny Ortega, this is your Billy, and by the way, that's on an actor named Doug Jones. And there I was, in the next day having this audition. So I think that helped a lot as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. Yeah. It segues into two things I'd love to talk about with Billy. And that's, first of all, that's your first kind of introduction into really being, other than like Mac the Knight and stuff, really being covered completely in like prosthetics and makeup and disguised unrecognizably. How did that Billy role prepare you for what would come down the road with Del Toro and others? And then
Yeah.
also, I'd love to talk
Totally.
about just your discovering of the physicality of him and developing that as well.
Yeah. Well, Billy was a springboard from which the rest of my career came, honestly, and in my relationship with makeup artist, Creature Effects Tony Gardner. Tony, we loved working together. He's a goofy guy with a great sense of humor. This goes a long way, when you connect, as friends while working together and laughing all day. Great. If you're affable and easy to work with, that's 50% of getting referred for the next gig. So Tony then, any job that came up after Hocus Pocus, he referred me first. I was number one on his list for any creature, no matter what shape, size, It doesn't matter. It's like Doug Jones. And then, okay, no, then he moved on from there if they didn't want me. So, I have done, I think maybe 15 jobs with Tony over the years
Okay.
because
Yeah.
of his loyalty and his, oh, he's so proud. So, and when we did Hocus Pocus 2, Tony was brought back to do my makeup again. And I looked exactly the same as I did 29 years
I was going to
before.
ask. That's literally one of my questions, Doug, because it did look so similar, and so I wasn't sure if the
Yeah, yeah,
team had come
yeah.
back for you to do that. So that's great. Yeah.
Indeed. They brought the old team back together again, which 3 decades later it was just absolutely surreal, as you can imagine. So, but developing Billy's physicality, uh, yes. Now Kenny Ortega had a dance assistant, a choreographer assistant that worked with him on the movie, on the first Hocus Pocus, who uh, who worked with me in a studio for like just a full day. We had a full day together before filming started, so we could just get Billy's body language down, and because there were things in the script too, where the manhole cover comes down over his fingers and they get chopped off, or he gets kicked in the head and it falls off. So okay, he's strung together with dust. Got it. That was a big thing to know. um, and his whole attitude too of he's been awakened from a dead sleep, literally dead, and kind of wants to go back to sleep. He doesn't want to eat brains. He doesn't want to do zombie things. He just wants to go back to sleep and be left alone. Sometimes I can relate to this. So I understood Billy and his whole attitude was a part of it. So you'll see him do that with his hands a lot, and that, that was worked in with. He's being asked to get involved with this mission to get the book back, and he just doesn't care, right? So, and then also then there's the relationship with Winifred. Okay, well, the reason he is dead and with his mouth sewn shut with leather straps is because she poisoned him. She sewed his mouth shut to keep her secret safe in the afterlife. He has nothing to say good about her, um, and he didn't really. And as we found out in Hocus Pocus 2, was that they never really had a relationship to start with. They shared one kiss, right? So with that in mind, she had built up this "he's my boyfriend" without him knowing about it, really. And then so he's kind of interested in her sister Sarah, and Winifred catches them together, and then that's when he gets poisoned and killed, and revenge, revenge. The evil Winifred does her thing. So he's not happy with her at all. He doesn't want to wake up and see her face ever again. And here we are. So, and then when he sees Sarah, it's like, because
Hmm.
he does have happy memories with her. So that was a great personality setup for me to have. The writers gave me a gift with that. So stumbling around, creaky, what would my joints feel like if I'd been asleep for 300 years? So yeah, that was kind of just a how do you make stiff zombie walking as goofy and comedic as possible? Yeah, that was just kind of there was my challenge. Um, and when the head comes off, how do we get it back on again? How do we chase after it? All that, and that we needed a little stunt double that would help me with this. It was a young lady named Karen Malkus in the first movie, and she stood up to hear on me. So we were about she was shoulder height, and so they put a fake head of Billy Butcherson on top of her head, and then put my clothes on a shoulder contraption around her, so she was looking through the bow tie area. And then stumbling around. So her arms. So if you look at the arms, they don't really joint at the right place. You'll see them kind of like she's kind of doing this. so, um, so she was the one who then kind of assumed my body language and had to study what I was doing to replicate Billy without a head. And so she would then pick my head back up, which was a duplicate fake head of Billy with the wig on, and then put it up to the stump that was on top of her head now, and then they would cut to a different angle, which is me, full bodied, the real me, finishing the movement. And then and it cut together seamlessly. You would never know,
Oh
right? It
yeah.
was a beautiful in camera, super easy trick.
Yeah, his physicality too. I mean, you did such a great job. The way like he'll try to grab after the kids, but the almost the coordination is off after 300 years. Um,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and
yeah.
then and then I think like this key moment as well as the first moment you see him come up from the ground, and he just kind of looks behind him, sees the tombstone, realizes where
Ah,
he
I threw
is.
that in myself. Yes,
I
that
was
was not scripted.
I was wondering
Yeah,
because it feels like an organic moment. So
I thank you. I
brilliant.
was proud of that, and Kenny Ortega guffaw laughed on set when the first time I did it. He says, "Keep that. Let's do it again.
Yeah.
Take another take."
Because you
Yeah,
would. You're disoriented, you see where you are, you go, you
right.
know?
Was I not dead a minute ago? And then you look around at the tombstone. Yeah, yeah, I am.
Yeah. With Hocus Pocus, I don't know if people realize this looking back because it just became a Halloween classic after. You would have been hyper aware of
Hmm.
this. It came out July in the summer and was competing with a
Yes.
little movie known now as Jurassic Park. And
Mm.
you know, so it didn't do well at first in terms of box office numbers, but then very very quickly went on to become this cult hit, this yearly watch for people, certainly popular enough that it's sequel. There's obviously talk and chatter of a third. um,
Mm.
did you, however, when you were there in on the set with this cast, who are giving an amazing performance, did you feel that it was maybe something special? Can you talk a little bit about what it was like, kind of in that
I
moment
can.
versus
Yeah,
what it became? Yeah,
I sure can. Now this is again early in my career, so I didn't have a whole lot to compare it to, but I was like, we are working on something magical here. This is going to be a classic, and we all felt that way. Everybody on the set, and that the they did for Hocus Pocus 1. They did exterior shots in Salem, Massachusetts. They did it at their actual place with all those buildings, and they're part of a big tour now. If you go to Salem, you'll see all the Hocus Pocus sites. Interiors were done in at Disney Studios in Burbank, California, and that's where I did all of my scenes. So my graveyard was set up inside in a soundstage. The Sanderson house was inside, uh, and we did some on an outdoor back lot with like the gates to the cemetery or the town fountain, or that whole exterior. That was all on an outdoor out back lot. So, but the amount of money they were spending and the lavish sets that they were building, and the and how much fun we were having, and the comedic moments that were being created, and again, the music, the colors, the shapes, the movement. It's like, to me, that makes a toe tapper, let's watch it again and again kind of movie that you do watch in the theater and that you will own one day at home. I was sure of it. Uh, and I remember one day sitting at lunchtime. Some of us were outside on the lawn at the Disney Studios there, and it was Kenny Ortega's dance choreographer assistant who said to me, "Doug, do you even realize how many lunch boxes you're going to be on across the country?" That was that because that's the attitude that we all had. I'm like, you know what? I don't want to speak too soon, but I hope so. Yeah. And then, so then the movie comes out in July. And I'm like,
yeah,
wait, it's a Halloween movie up against summer blockbusters, and it was advertised as a Bette Midler comedy because, again, she was at the height of that part of her career. And so instead of advertising it as a Halloween family friendly kids romp of a movie, it was a Bette Midler summer comedy. And oh, it just was. It's like Guillermo del Toro once said, um, you can have a beautiful pair of shoes, but nobody's going to buy them if you advertise it as a purse. Okay,
yeah,
so that's exactly what
yeah.
had happened there. So it did dismal box office that summer of 1993. And back then, though, we didn't know, in 1993, we didn't have the world we have of entertainment now, where everything's accessible with a click.
Hmm.
So if it didn't play well in the theater, you might have a TV airing, you might have a home VHS after that, and then that's the end of your run, right? So little did we know that it was going. So we all thought, I mean, okay, well, that was a fun dream, and now it's over. right?
Hmm.
But then it aired on ABC Sunday Night Movie Special. And then ABC also owned ABC Family Channel, which is now Freeform Channel in the States. And boy, did they start airing that in October, like multiple times throughout the month. And the ratings were like zip, 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 zip. Everybody's watching it now. And now parents are wanting to own a copy for their kids. So they buy it on the VHS. Well, VHS turns to DVD. Well, we got to get the DVD. Turns to Blu-ray. We got to get the Blu-ray. Turns into 4K. Got to get the 4K. It's now on Disney Plus. Got to get that subscription. I mean, honestly, it has had this, it's snowballed and gotten bigger and bigger and bigger over the years. And our original fans are now old enough to have kids of their own, creating another generation of fans. And so it has only gotten, every year, it gets more and more popular. Most movies come out big and fritter over the years. This one started small and has only gotten bigger over the years. So it's done the antithesis of what a movie should do, and that's been such a blessing for all of us. It has the popularity now that I thought it would the summer of '93. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
which is such a tough thing to reckon with as artists, right? Because you can't control the afterlife of your work. You can only just do your
You
best
cannot.
and put it out there. But that's what I love about doing these films with live orchestra, and why Hocus Pocus, I think, is also just such a great piece for that format. Is not only is the music amazing and slapstick in its own right, and connected with the physicality of all you guys, but it allows for, the venue in Toronto, it's 3,000 people. It allows for them to come together of all ages, introduce their kids to it,
Yes.
see it once again in a format that they haven't yet, even though it's a yearly watch. To see it again on the big screen with an orchestra, and have it kind of come to life in that way, which is really
Yeah.
special.
Yes.
So
Yes. And Hocus Pocus is a movie that kind of beats the odds with current movie watching standards now. Now it's like we do a lot of movie watching by ourselves on a small device with a click. Hocus Pocus is the movie that brings the family together again for a sit down, make the popcorn, we're having movie night on a big screen. But that's still a thing. That was the Wizard of Oz when I was a kid. It was an annual aired event on network television. You cleared the decks, closed the curtains, pop the corn, get the Kool-Aid out. We're going to watch the Wizard of Oz. Well, Hocus Pocus has become that for the current generation, which I'm really tickled pink to be a part of. My
it really
gosh.
has. Like, literally, it'll be a conversation with my friends of, have you watched Hocus Pocus yet? No. Okay, great. Let's put it. Like it's like a duty in October.
Yeah.
Have you? Yes. No. Okay, great. We're
Yeah,
doing
I
it.
know, I know.
So,
And when Hocus Pocus, yes, and when Hocus Pocus 2 came out,
yeah.
I cannot tell you how many social media posts, and we didn't have social media when the first one came out, but now the second one comes out on Disney Plus, and how many watch parties I was tagged in with photos, videos, cosplaying across the world when it came out on that one day. But that was what did my heart good. And now that I'd also do the convention circuit,
Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
make greeting fans from all the genres I've played in, which is science fiction, fantasy, horror, comic book, superheroes, all that. I have had more Hocus Pocus cosplayers come around. There's been a lot of Billies come to see me. A lot of Sanderson sisters have come to see me at these conventions, and such a huge, sweet homage, because the time and effort and money it takes to dress like that and to make yourself up like that, it's not an easy task. So
Yeah.
it warms my heart to see such fandom that has really people have grown up with, and it's a part of them.
Yeah. Well, Doug, thank you for taking the time to chat with me, and I look forward to seeing you more and more, makeup or otherwise.
Me too. Me too. You, makeup or otherwise. Okay.